So in this demo, we're going to show how you can use webhooks basically to create live customer experiences, right? Without polling, right? No more polling. So I'm going to show this. This is basically a sample app. It's a reference app for webhooks where this is a neobanking style banking interface on the left here built on top of stables with the Brale API. And on the right side here, we have some essentially developer tools. Essentially, that this is a reference app that we'll make available later that helps get up and running with webhooks and understand what's going on under the hood. So we built this essentially on the Brale API, right? So operating system for stable coins. So starting with issuance. So we've got again a balance or an SBC. You could think of this as the canonical balance, but you could also do this with your own stable coin generating revenue. Got the custodial balances on all the chains here, which will start with Solana and then on and off ramps on 20 plus chains and then fiat rails as well. So I think three main areas, and then I'll actually jump into the live transfers here and show webhooks. I think there's really three main reasons this is super exciting. One is the user experience side, as we'll show here. I think if you think about things like live balances, activity, I think making things more real time for users is always a big win. Then on the reconciliation side, again, we're going to be publishing events to your system, so we all stay in sync as well with the blockchain. And then, of course, as Ben mentioned, no more polling, right? Polling creates a lot more complexity in edge cases and these kind of things that we can avoid. So I'm going to hop in here and we'll just start with kind of a classic like cross-border kind of payment. I think you think of this as like a vendor payout or maybe a treasury rebalance. I'm just going to send this on Solana, right? Typically we'd be sending this to maybe a last mile provider. I know a lot of folks on the call support similar flows. So we'll kick this off. And so we're doing the transfer on chain. Brale is essentially waiting for finalization, and then we're publishing an event back to you that says that this is completed. So obviously today, without this, we'd already be polling. We'd either be doing some aggressive polling or we'd be doing some delays. And here we've received the webhook. I think this completed in around 18 seconds, and we can just see here what's going on under the hood. Obviously, we received the webhook from Brale that everything's completed. We checked the signature. We're deduping it. We're doing a number of checks here to make sure this is eligible, and you can already get a sense of how this is updating real time. We're doing these things like balance updates, activity, and I think this really prevents a very snappy experience where we're really trying to reduce the right settlement delay. I think we're all in the business of reliability and quick settlement, and really reducing that where we don't introduce any more delay with our polling. I'll do another example. I think we've got a bunch of chains in here. I think maybe just do Spark as something different here. And again, I want to call out like on these transfer, all this is working on the API through the transfer request. So we can see the request here under the hood, right? I'm calling this out because this is really the foundational concept in the API. We've got this single flexible endpoint. That's the transfer request to accommodate on-chain, off-chain. So think about stablecoin transfers, right? Things like conversion of wire, RTP, all this kind of stuff, or cross-chain transfers. It's all through this single endpoint that's working on these flexible fields, right? Value type for the currency and transfer type. So we can see here again, as I updated this, we're just seeing the request here change. And so we've built webhooks around this core event to notify us around the transfer lifecycle. So we can see when transfers kick off, we can see when transfers complete, essentially. So I'll go ahead and we'll do just another example here on Spark. Again, this has been kicked off. We're waiting for finalization, and then Brale will be publishing us an event. And that's super quick here. Obviously, we're building on top of underlying networks, again, like things like Radius, as well as Tyler's demo right before this, right? Networks these days are incredibly fast. So that's the base layer here, but we're not introducing any additional delays because we're getting notified essentially in real time, and we can take these actions. I think this is you can imagine even doing more on the front end here, but I think as you look at these kind of like success state changes, I think they're a good example here as well. And you can think about on the reconciliation side, downstream treasury teams, right? Other APIs, right? Agents all getting notified immediately. And so this is much more robust than polling. So I think that's really to get a sense of what we can do today with webhooks. Again, I think this is pretty snappy, pretty nice. And this would work as well with any of the Brale flows. So if you think about things like Mint or listening for RTP off ramps, right? This is all supported through this single webhook, which is nice because we're extending the transfer endpoint. So that's really the core demo. I want to call out as well, just briefly. Of course, this is all in the docs. We'll also make the reference app available, which I think will make this really nice together. Just following this, obviously, I'm just running this locally with Ngrok as well, literally just following the exact quick start here. And then we'll also just call out, we published another blog post today on Webhooks, a little bit of the motivation behind it. I think this is really nice to see as well, the amount of polling that we've removed. I think there's some nice stats in here as well about reducing latency by 20%. So really excited. I think this has been a long time coming. I think really excited to see how people start leveraging Webhooks. Thank you.